Welcome to another episode of Student Sciences and Stakeholders, which gives listeners the opportunity to learn more about NCAS M from the most important people that make the center work, which is our students, our scientists, and our stakeholders. This is Dr. TSCM Tyree. I'm a professor in the Kathy Hughes School of Communications at Howard University, and not only a longtime member of the NCAS M grant, which I am, but Howard University is also the lead institution for the grant. My role within the grant is to communicate various activities of the center, showcase what we do and how we do it, as well as share our success stories. Today, we are more than pleased to devote an entire episode to discussing the incredible work of the center over the last 2 decades. If you don't know, since 2000, we have changed the scientific landscape by fostering a culture of fellowship, collaboration, and interdisciplinary studies through our multiple partnerships with my minority serving institutions across the country and beyond, all because of the support of NOAA. I am not going to have this conversation alone. Today, I'm pleased to have Dr. Joanne Manswell Butty with me. She is the center's education lead, a phenomenal individual, even outside of all the hard work she does. And she really keeps us moving forward, our students moving forward. And she is just a joy to absolutely work with. Her responsibilities include implementing the education and training strategies across our 9 NCAS M funded institutions, which ensures all of our students are receiving the education, training, and experiential and professional development they need to, most importantly, create the working skills and knowledge to hopefully move into NOAA or related fields. I know that was a mouthful, Dr. Joanne, but here we are. How are you? And welcome to the podcast.
I am doing quite well, thank you. And thank you for having me, Dr. Tyree.
Yes. We've had 2 series so far. One focused totally on students and really gave them an opportunity to share their experiences, what it's like to actually get on the grant, which is always like a mystifying thing for many students. Like, how do I get a fellowship of this magnitude, and share kind of like all of their little experiences with mentors and research. And then we popped over and spoke with our faculty, who of course are a critical part of, our research that moves the center forward and mentorship. So it is a pleasure to peek behind the curtain with you today and really hear more about the inner workings of the center. So with that, I really want to talk about you first. And again, how you made it to Howard University and the NCAS M grant, and just a little bit of highlights from your career.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. As you mentioned, I am the education expert at, and we say the acronym NCAS M, the NOAA Cooperative Science Center in Atmospheric Sciences and Meteorology. And as you mentioned again in your introduction, through education, training, and professional development, I assist our students with attaining those working skills and competencies for NOAA's mission, the NOAA Mission Enterprise. So my hometown is a small city in the Twin Island state of Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean. I come from San Fernando, and I come from a family of teachers, of educators. And I have several years of teaching at all levels. I earned my degrees at Howard University. I'm a triple alum, and my field of study has always been associated with education. My tertiary degree is in educational psychology. Consequently, my life has always revolved around working with students and teachers and to improve their outcomes. So before coming to NCAS M in 2015, 2016, I was co-director and senior evaluator on the pre-K evaluation and childcare subsidy evaluation programs in Washington, D.C. That's a mouthful. And it involved working in the District of Columbia, managing projects, working with school systems, and evaluating programs. I worked on the same floor as NCAS M. And when the grant at my past job working at the Center for Urban Progress came to an end, I seized the opportunity to actually move down the hall and assume the role of education lead or education expert at NCAS M in 2016. So that's a little bit about me and how I made my way to NCAS M.
I can't even tell you how much I just learned. I can't even tell you. First of all, I went to Trinidad and Tobago. I was asked to come down and do a talk, and I absolutely loved it. I flew in tight, as I say. So I didn't have much time to explore, but I absolutely loved it. And I always say I wanted to go back where I could really experience the island. But what's funny is when you are in education, Dr. Joanne, it's funny because you learn that so many teachers create teachers. Like you'll hear someone say, "Oh, my dad was a professor. My mom was a professor. My mom's an elementary school teacher." And it's just so funny is that, you know, it seems like teaching is often a family business, and it's good to hear you kind of have that that in your blood too. And also triple alum.
Yes, I am.
Did not know that. So you bleed blue for sure, Dr. Joanne.
I bleed blue. Yes.
You do. So if we ever have some history of Howard University questions, we know who to ask.
Correct.
But yeah, so with that, you know, I've been at Howard for 16 years, and the NCAS grant, of course, has been around for so much longer than that. But just talk to me a little bit about why you think the center is so special and why you think that NOAA has entrusted us with grant approvals, you know, cycle after cycle.
Yes. So as I mentioned before, I came to NCAS M. It's been around for some time, 20 years, over 20 years. I came about 7 or 8 years ago, and as I said, from a career in the field of education. And coming over, I had to sort of switch gears a little bit because this was so STEM focused. So that was new for me, and I had to adjust. And so from then and in the past, the primary goal or the focus, which is really noble, remains the same for NCAS M. That is to recruit, to build capacity, to train our graduate students in traditionally underrepresented communities in NOAA mission science, more specifically in atmospheric sciences and meteorology. So I will interject here that as education expert at NCAS M, my focus is on education, training, and professional development. There is a research piece that goes along with it that we have others who work on, but my focus is on the training and education, as was mentioned. So, but NCAS M continues to achieve that mission. I think that is what's working for it. And it continues to do that by recruiting our students, undergraduate and graduate students, and really training them well in NOAA mission sciences. So training them academically and experientially, giving them the field experience as well, and preparing them for the NOAA mission workforce, and doing so by providing that professional and career development through workshops and other trainings, and then seeing them earn their degrees and becoming NOAA employees. So they can become full-time employees, contractors. Majority of them, again, NOAA mission aligned. Some of them enter academia. So the pathway that we have created is working. And I think that's the reason that it's really all about achieving the mission and making a difference. And one of what we should mention also is that because of the students that we recruit, we are actually helping to diversify the NOAA's workforce. So we are achieving the mission, and that's what I think is working well.
Absolutely, and that is, a big part of what I think drives a lot of the passion of not only our faculty involved, our staff, but our students, because they know the importance of their role in the STEM field too. But I wanted to talk because we're not the only CSCO of Cooperative Science Center. There are others, and I'm going to go ahead and rattle them off because we should always respect our sister centers. So there's also the NOAA Center for Coastal and Marine Ecosystems too. There's the NOAA Center for Earth System Sciences and Remote Sensing Technologies too. There's the NOAA Living Marine Resources Cooperative Science Center as well. So with all of this group of CSCs, what do you think makes ours so special?
Well, yes, and I'm glad that you mentioned the other CSCs because we really all work together. There are other education experts at those CSCs, and we actually have similar programs that we engage in. One of the good things about what we do is that as education leads and as experts in working with our students, we actually meet, we've been meeting and continue to meet monthly to share our best practices and to share lessons learned. Sometimes we have our challenges. And so again, in talking to each other, it's like a sisterhood. It's really all 4 ladies. And we meet and chat and talk about what's going on, what we're learning, what we should be doing, how we communicate, and some of the best practices, as I said. So for all of us, we have similar programs, similar activities. And I can talk about one in particular that is we all do, but is really unique to us at our center and the other CSCs. And that is, we call it NERDO, and that is the NOAA Experiential Research and Training Opportunity, which is an internship for our graduate students. That's 12 weeks long, where students work with a NOAA mentor on a NOAA mission-aligned project. It's really special and really gives our students a great experience and really having them touch mentors, NOAA folks, so that they really get a true-to-life experience. And with that, they come out, all of our students come away with great outcomes. They generate new data, they generate models or products in working with NOAA mentors at the host office. They are able to communicate their science well and deliver oral or poster presentations about their project results, their NERDO results. And they attain some of the core competencies that are needed so that, when they go on and they get into the NOAA workforce, they have, that communicating science piece, the research piece, data analysis, the modeling pieces that are needed. They gain those experiences. So that is a really, really great experience. One of the opportunities that's really unique to us as well as the other CSCs that really works well for us. There's one that I would mention that we did. It's not going on right now, but again, it may start up. It's what we call ETSP, which is the Experiential Research and Training, Experiential Training Summer Program, which was an 8-week program that we had for rising sophomores. And then where they too worked with a NOAA collaborator and NOAA NCAS M faculty advisors or mentors. And it was unique because it really exposed rising sophomores to, again, NOAA mission-aligned research early in their academic careers, which is quite unique. So that was another program that was that's really touched on, again, building those core competencies, building that interest in atmospheric sciences, meteorology, the weather, and again, NOAA mission aligned, so that students build that interest early on in their careers. So those are two activities or 2 opportunities that I would mention that they're not different from other centers, again, because we work together, but it's unique. It's really a special experience for our students.
Well, I want to talk about another, and I know we sound like alphabet soup a little bit, but really these titles reflect the dynamics of what it is we do. But we were just talking about research, and an experience that I find just so amazing is the Eros tour, and what our students get to experience in that research activity. Can you tell us a little bit about Eros and maybe how many tours have happened with our NCAS M students?
Yes, so Eros is on the research wing of our program. So NCAS M was able to leverage the NOAA. It's a cruise ship, NOAA Ronald H. Brown, the research ship. It's a cruise that conducts atmospheric research across the Atlantic Ocean to characterize the transatlantic aerosol transport under the Eros project. And Eros stands for Aerosols and Oceanographic Science Expeditions. So this program, Eros, has really facilitated intensive research and training for our students in a very collaborative research environment. And a few of our students have engaged in Eros, and for their NERDOs, as I mentioned before. NERDO is, again, I'll remind you, because again, we use these acronyms, the NOAA Experiential Research and Training Opportunity for our graduate students, where they're there for 12 weeks. So they would go on a cruise for 12 weeks and really have this rich experience. And when all of them, when they come back, they really describe this research cruise as a super valuable experience, one of, highlight in their tenure here at NCAS M. So really, really valuable experience. So yes, Eros is wonderful, a great part of what we do.
You know what else we did a lot of, and it was so heartwarming to be a part of those moments, is we don't just take what we learn either on a cruise or maybe in our research facilities and kind of keep it to ourselves or throw it in, a research journal, which sometimes can get dusty. We have literally taken our students and our faculty into the community to share our knowledge. I think in total, we reached maybe over 2,000 students through our research activities, including fairs and camps. And I think it's just another dynamic, Dr. Butty, that shows that, there's one thing to get educated in the classroom, and there's another thing to share that education with little ones. Can you tell us just a little bit about how our educational arm extends outside of kind of this higher educational realm?
Yes, I could talk a little bit about that. When I came on in 2015, 2016, that community outreach piece was huge. There was several. We had some of our, I must make mention here of Khadija Thiero. She worked with us on several projects that were really outreach projects. There was the Careers Weather Camp for high school students. I think it was high school students, where they came in. There was a 2-week period where they came in and really were exposed to the joy of weather. We learned that there's some young people who have weather in their blood from early on. They know that they want to do things associated with weather and meteorology. So we selected those students, and they came in and they had that weather camp piece going. So that was a nice piece for us. And then again, there were activities that involved NCAS M going out into the community at conferences, science fair conferences, at local schools, and engaging in really simple activities, weather-related, meteorological and atmospheric science related types of activities that, again, would expose our students, young ones, to these activities and the love. So it built on the love of science, their engagement, their just the exposure and engagement.
I believe there's been about 10 alum who have moved into the program. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. Maybe you want to highlight a person or two if you like, or just talk about, how we've successfully, made that happen. We actually fulfilled the goals of the grant.
Yes, and before I say that, I would be remiss if I also didn't mention Dr. Vernon Moris, where we just talked about that community outreach piece, and he was a real, I would say, master in that outreach piece as well, because he went out into schools, elementary schools, at the science fairs, and he was part of that outreach piece because he loved as we know, he loves science, he loves atmospheric sciences and meteorology, and he really imparted that on the young ones. So again, I really have to give mention to Dr. Morris.
And me too. I will just have to jump in before, and we'll get back on track. But Dr. Morris and Khadija, they welcomed me into the grant in the beginning. Such knowledgeable, incredible individuals who, when I say they had a passion for NCAS at that moment, and then moving into NCAS M, you're absolutely right in bringing their names forward, because while neither one are on the grant, they did pave the way for such a strong foundation, Dr. Joanne, for this center to be the dynamic place that it is. So yes, thank you so much for mentioning both of them before we hop into kind of, what it is to get into the workforce and what we've done.
Yes, sure. So yes, in terms of our alumni, I'm going to call a few names, but of course there are many other names of folks who are really making a difference. Some of our alumni from Howard University in the past, Danae Carlis and Michelle Hawkins. There are many others. I'm not calling all of them. We have Cassandra Shivers Williams, some of our younger, those who are recent, Leticia Williams. They're all part of that alumni group, really making a difference in the NOAA workforce, in the NOAA mission enterprise, holding top leadership positions, doing well. And what's great about our alumni, we have Daniel Yeager, he's another one. We just had a conference. You could call on them at any time for a workshop or to come back to talk to our students, our fellows, and willingly they just hopped it. So that really warms my heart every time as the education lead, when I have to reach out and I have to plan meetings and get our students or workshops and so on. I can always call on our alum who are really doing outstanding work and really making a difference at NOAA. I could call on them and they always come back. They're always willing to come back and mentor and train, talk to our current fellows and encourage them to, again, stay in the field, stay committed, and giving them tips and bits of advice. So that I must make mention of as well. So yes, they have been prepared and they are out there doing a great job.
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm on the grant, and a part of my kind of little world on the side is a class that I teach called Capcom Lab. And we often partner directly with NOAA as well as with the center to do various strategic planning. And yes, I have worked with Michelle Hawkins and Van Kita at various moments on plans. And yes, it's wonderful to say, and they'll always tell our students, I was just like you, I worked I was a student at Howard, and it's just that full circle moment that kind of warms your heart when you can say, okay, I know that the impact is real because I'm seeing it, I'm working through it. I get a chance to be a part of it, at least with Leticia Williams. seeing her as a doctoral student and then moving into the NOAA workforce, it just really makes you understand that those who work hard and have, you know, a plan and career goals, it's all possible to attain them, especially with, you know, the support of a center like we have here at NCAS M. So I guess for me, I wanted to talk a little bit about like the bigger picture of funding and what does that look like for students? So I'm going to change it up a little bit and say, if someone becomes a fellow, Dr. Joanne, you know, what does that mean? Like, what funding and financial support is behind them? Because I think sometimes students don't really know what a fellowship really is. And so for us, what does that really mean?
Yes, so yes, students who are considering applying to NCAS M, it's a rigorous, first of all, it's a great experience. Let me just put it that way. If students have any interest whatsoever in NOAA, the NOAA Mission Enterprise, working at NOAA, this is the fellowship for you. It is the fellowship itself. There are, of course, always requirements that we have. We are funded by NOAA EPP MSI, which is NOAA's Educational Partnership Program with minority serving institutions. They are funders. And we work collaboratively, it's a cooperative science, cooperative agreement. So we work hand in hand with them. And students coming into the fellowship have to meet certain requirements, of course, GPA requirements and citizenship requirements, and then courses within that interest in NOAA mission types of coursework, etc. So again, meeting those requirements and coming into the program, there are required activities that stem around, of course, I spoke about NERDOs that are important for our graduate students. For undergraduate students, they are highly encouraged to engage in a NOAA mission-aligned internship as well. Highly encouraged, but the requirement for our graduate students to complete NERDOs. So there are plans, student development plans that students have to complete, as well as some presentations and just being involved in, there's an annual cohort experience, we call it, or professional development workshop that we engage in during the summer. That's a requirement for our students. So, and then during the course of the year, there are different trainings and exposure to different types of courses that students would engage in. So it's along with schoolwork, this is a separate part, but it is an exciting part. Also, there are opportunities for students to meet and network with NOAA professionals. We bring in folks who come in and talk with our students. Of course, the experiential training opportunity experiences and the trainings. So once that's, that piece is there, and the other big piece that you spoke about, Dr. Tyree, which is really attractive to our students, is that the fellowship pays tuition. And it also gives students a stipend. So that is an attractive piece. But it's a program like no other. Another really great incentive to this program is that once you complete some of these requirements, again, I'm back to the NERDO, that intense fellowship, that intense internship that students engage in, you get what is, when you graduate, you get what is called a direct hire certificate from NOAA. And that gives you an advantage if you're applying for a position at NOAA. I would say a little leg up because you've been through the internship, you've been through that intense experience, and you are able now to sort of negotiate and get into NOAA a little easier as it pertains to a work opportunity. So these are some of the pluses. Again, you have your working with faculty, great individuals like Dr. Tyree and yourself and others, many others, really experts in the field. So again, the networking, the collaboration, working with other students, peers, you begin to build your community, and working with the big NOAA community, that is what it's all about. So it's exciting, and our students are, or pride and joy. And again, as we spoke about, going on and becoming alum, and then coming back and giving back, to those who are moving forward. So those are some of the activities and involved when students become fellows at our center.
And yes, and I want to make sure everyone is clear that, because we're so Howard centered, because Howard is the lead, and we're Howard University faculty and staff. But I want to make sure that we acknowledge that our students are from all of our partnering institutions. So, of course, Howard University, San Jose State University, the University of Maryland, Jackson State University, the University at Albany, the University of Puerto Rico, Penn State, the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, and of course, the University of Texas at El Paso. So coming into the fellowship does not mean that you will be sitting at Howard University. There are all of our partnering institutions, and you're able to connect at one of those institutions. So, our impact is not just one that's, centered at Howard University or centered, in Washington, D.C. It's not even just centered in the United States, because again, Puerto Rico has been a longtime partner as a part of this grant. So with that said, I just want to give you one last opportunity before we kind of close out, Dr. Joanne, to just say anything you want to say about the center, its impact in the scientific community, the United States at large, or just one word for anyone who might be listening before we wrap up.
Yes, so just to go back again, I'm glad you mentioned that we are center-wide, and center-wide meaning 9 partner institutions. So thank you for raising that. Yes, so I would say that we are doing great work. We have a great team at NCAS M, and it's center-wide with all the faculty and from these 9 partner institutions, students from 9 partner institutions. As I mentioned before, our goal is to recruit, to build capacity, to train graduate students in no-emission sciences, more specifically in atmospheric sciences and meteorology, and ready to pipeline our students into the NOAA workforce. So that's our mission. We are meeting that big mission with the help of our funders. Must mention again the NOAA EPP MSI, the NOAA's Educational Partnership Program in atmospherics with minority serving institutions, coming out of NOAA's Office of Education. So they are funders. We work collaboratively with them. And with the other CSCs as well. I am part of the family of other CSCs. So that's the big picture, and we all work together to train our students. So yes, we are achieving our mission, and are looking forward to the next steps. We're in another phase of our grant. And again, bringing in new cohorts, bringing in new students and working with them. So that's the big picture. I would encourage students, if you are interested, please reach out to us. We are online and we have a website, ncasm.org. You can see who we are, what we do, and we welcome you. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions whatsoever. Thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you for that wonderful recap. This is really about talking about not years, but decades of our impact and how much the center has done to really kind of meet our larger goals of training and graduating students in the STEM field from underrepresented communities and developing candidates to move into our NOAA-related workforce and really providing education and research capacity, for our students and for individuals who may not otherwise have the opportunity to have that. So with that, I want to thank you so much, Dr. Joanne Manswell Butty, for joining me today. It's been a pleasure. And to our audience, thank you for joining us for another episode of Students, Scientists, and Stakeholders. Again, you can learn more about us by visiting our website at www.ncas m.org. We also have a special section on our website devoted to the impact of our center. We hope that you take a moment to explore it. There's everything from downloads to statistics to, of course, if you haven't found this podcast there, so much other visuals that can really help you understand who we are, what we have done, and we hope you find it interesting enough to share as well. You can learn more there at ncasm-m.org/our impact. And stay tuned to hear more information about our next podcast. Also, stay connected by following us on socials at NCAS News on Twitter and Instagram. We can also check out our past episodes of this podcast on SoundCloud, our website, and YouTube as well, which also has some other good content. Until next time, thank you so much for joining us.